that's the whole thing. I think both of them are very, very unpopular. What do you think about the statement that Trump made today about, basically implying that Ted Cruz's father was, associated with Oswald? These are the things that I just find to be just profoundly disgusting, coming out of Trump. I'm sorry. I'm not a Trump fan, as you know, and I know that anything he says, people go wild about. But I'm sorry, that's disgusting.
I don't know. There have been some folks who have made that connection. So I don't know. I don't know whether it's right or wrong. I've seen pictures. People tell me that that's Cruz's dad with Lee Harvey Oswald in New Orleans. Who knows? I'm not saying that happened, but I think that is missing the boat, really.
You'd expect somebody running for office to be a lot more responsible. Okay, that's the way I look at it. Not just repeat things that comes from their close friends from the National Enquirer.
There have been people like Wayne Madsen and others, researchers, that have made the connection, and I'm not willing to say it because I don't know if it's true or not. Who knows? But I do think that a lot of people have said, well, he made this comment, and that's irresponsible, and that's going too far. And so many times I've just been laughing that people have said, oh, well, that's just impossible that he could say this, and it never hurts him. It actually helps him.
Well, I don't think it really. It helps him among. It helped him among a population of people who wanted him to win. Okay. Here's the question.
But Steve, that population of people is bigger than any population of any Republican candidate in history. He's got more votes than any Republican candidate in history in a primary process. Yeah. Do you acknowledge that?
From what I understand, yeah. From what I saw on TV, yes, I acknowledge that, but he still has to win, and
he's leading in the polls, Steve.
No, how is he going to win?
He's leading in the polls.
Look, I can see that he, takes the nomination. Okay, I can see he takes it, and I can see that right now about one half of the people, okay, who are Republicans, just cannot see themselves, voting for him, or maybe 40%. Okay, I just cannot see him. I can't see it. I think that.
Well, you called him, if I remember correctly, Steve, when this whole thing started, you called him a clown. A clown. Yeah, and I think you dismissed his chances, didn't you? Pretty much.
I sure did. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And
right.
But I did not expect people. I did not expect you, Jeff. Okay, I did not expect you to go crazy over this guy. Look, let's talk about his policies. Let's talk about his policies. How in the world is he going to stop? How is he going to stop these Muslims from entering the country? Now, let's talk about policy. Let's not. Okay, so let's put aside, the words like clown and.
I never used that word. You did. I thought he made a lot of sense in his opening statement. You thought he was a clown.
So how's he going to do it? Okay, so he's come up with policies. Let's talk about how is he going to do it? How is he going to remove
if I were you, Steve, I would, before we get into this conversation, I would go onto his website. He's got detailed plans, more detailed than Hillary or Cruz or anybody else, on 5 or 6 of the key issues that we're facing as a country. And look at it. Tell me what you think of the detailed plans that he's got. And once you study those, then we can maybe have a conversation about it on immigration and health care and Second Amendment, etc.
It sounds to me like you're walking away from the question I'm asking you, which is how is he? Yeah.
Steve, I'm not walking away from anything. I'm just saying, have you studied his website?
Well, no, I haven't. But how's he going to do it, Jeff? I will look at it. Okay, but my question is, how is he going to do it? And you haven't answered me.
All right. Well, there are all kinds of different ways he could do it. I mean, one, I think he's going to be building a wall. Okay. Do you understand? That's going to help keep out a lot of people from foreign countries, including Mexico, right? Steve?
Okay, the Mexican
okay, but it's not just Mexican people coming in from south of the border. It's people from all kinds of different countries. There are a lot of Muslims coming in from Mexico. You grant that, correct?
Well, have you what's the number of
I'll give you the statistics, but it's not just Mexicans. All right, it's and in fact, I just saw a study that shows that illegal immigration is now surging. So this is a problem that's not being addressed and is getting worse.
Okay, so what percentage of the Muslims that come in are coming in from the Mexican American border? I mean, come on.
I'll get some statistics for you. We've talked about it. We've talked about it on the program. I mean,
well, in that case, you ought to know it since you've talked about it. In that case, you really ought to know. You know, what his policy is.
Steve, a nation without borders is not a nation, all right? We've got to stop all this illegal immigration from no matter what nationality or religion. All right, hang on. We got Ringside All-Star, publisher of BayouBuzz.com, Steve Sabladowski. And Steve, welcome back.
Thank you, Jeff.
You know, you always attack me on the Trump issue. Let me turn the tables and ask you about Hillary. Are you comfortable voting for Hillary?
No,
I mean,
I did tell you.
Okay, let me ask you: is Donald Trump under indictment? Possibly? Is Donald Trump involved in all these scandals? Does Donald Trump have the FBI investigating him? I mean, so I'm wondering. I mean, you seem to be so anti-Trump. I mean, where's your fire about what Hillary has done and all Hillary's actions that I think have led to the deaths of Americans?
Well, okay, well, that's what you think, and maybe it did, but Trump was building golf courses. Hillary was, Secretary of State. I mean, look,
Trump was creating jobs. Hillary has never created a job in her life. Hillary's a bureaucrat and a do-nothing loser, in my opinion. It's only where she is because of her name.
Okay, and that you're welcome to that opinion, of course. But to respond to your question, look, I've said over and over and over on your program and elsewhere, that I do not want Hillary Clinton to be president. Okay, there were a number of people who were running for president who were, running against Donald Trump that I personally liked, and that I could consider voting for. However, they unfortunately are not running. So the question is, at the point in time that both Hillary and Donald Trump are the nominees and nobody else is running, at that point in time, I will make a decision as to who I can stomach, and neither one at this point I can stomach. I cannot stomach.
I think
I'm on your program right now. You are a staunch supporter, maybe even paid for by
I am not paid
Trump.
for.
I don't know. I mean, you were turning out.
Steve, hold on. Yeah. That's a false charge. That's a false charge. Hold on.
You sent out press releases.
Hold on. I am not a paid-for Trump supporter. It's costing me. Hold on. It is costing me money, big money, to be a delegate to support Donald Trump. I am losing money over this deal. I am following my principles, supporting a guy. Supporting a guy who I think is important for this country. Hold on. We need to be very clear about that. There is no payment being made for this. This is something that I'm losing money on because it's not cheap to be a delegate. It's not cheap to be doing this at all. So I want to make that crystal clear.
I understand that, but I wasn't referring to your being a delegate. That's not what I was referring to. What I said was
being involved with the Trump campaign. Zero. Hold on, pal. Zero money. Zero. Okay. It's costing me money.
Okay. What about the other people who were working in the campaign? You were working in the campaign.
All the people that are on board as delegates and as chairs and as co-chairs, none of them were paid a dime. Okay, the only people that are made money that are the staffers, the people that come in, work
some
the
of the
state,
staffers here in
and
Louisiana?
move on. People like Ryan Lambert, who was the the executive director for the campaign. He's in Indiana. So I mean, none of the folks here that are involved in the campaign.
Is Brian a staffer?
Brian
is
who?
Brian paid? Trasher, is he paid?
Of course not. No. Okay. No.
Well, I mean, I was told, that he was paid, but that's why I was asking. I mean, I saw that you sent out.
I don't know, and again, I'm not privy to all the people that are paid, but from what I understand, the only people that are paid are the staffers that work full time for Donald Trump. All of us that are the volunteers, I mean, all of us again have to put up a lot of money to get involved in this, and it's really something that we're doing it because of what we believe is important for the country. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I'm doing this. I think this is a guy that finally I see has the courage to take on the group that I've been fighting, as you know, for years, and that is the GOP establishment, the group that I think has been so detrimental to the party, to the country, and this is a guy that they hate, and he's got the right enemies, in my opinion.
Well, it seems like they hate Cruz more than they I mean, you were for Ted Cruz, until Trump jumped in, and it seems like they hate Cruz more than they hate Trump.
But Steve, how's that possible? You got Jeb Bush, you got Neil Bush, you got Lindsey Graham, you got Nikki Haley. All these people are for Cruz.
I'm just look. I think that if you, at least according to Ted Cruz, they're all for Trump. I mean, I had some real questions as to whether or not they, I don't think they like Cruz. I think that's a problem, and I don't think they like Carly Fiorina, and I think that's a problem, and I think that's why, he hasn't caught on in Indiana in a one-on-one contest.
Well, he said from the beginning, give me a chance to take on Donald Trump one-on-one, and he's failed miserably. This is a state that supposedly he was going to do so well in. So again, he is turned out to be not a very good candidate. Hey, I like a lot of what he did as a senator. I mean, I think he's a conservative. I mean, I think he does have establishment ties, though, the more I've learned about him. So yeah, I think they're certainly not excited about him, but I mean, I think they're picking him over Trump as the lesser of two evils. That's how I see it.
Wait. Establishment ties. Now, let me see. He almost brought down Congress. Okay, I mean, in the establishment, as what he's the devil incarnate. Tom.
That's what John Boehner said, but. Yeah. He worked in the Bush administration.
Whereas Donald Trump has contributed to just about every major politician that we know of.
Steve, does the establishment like Donald Trump? I mean, it looks like they hate him. Come on.
And he is not an establishment candidate? I mean,
of course not. Of course not. He's never run for office before. Listen, Ted Cruz got his start in the George Bush administration. Ted Cruz met his wife working for George Bush. Ted Cruz's wife works for Goldman Sachs. He's gotten $12 million from Wall Street. I mean, she did reports for the Council on Foreign Relations. I mean, I could go on and on. You got a Bush official that's running his campaign, a former Bush official. Yeah, there are lots of connections, I think, on Ted Cruz's side. He's a member of the Senate. He got elected in Texas, I think, with a lot of Bush support. So, yeah, I think he's more connected to the establishment than Trump.
Saying that? If Trump wasn't winning, would you be? If you weren't supporting Trump, would you be saying that about Ted Cruz?
The more I've gotten to know Ted Cruz, the more establishment ties I see. I do think he's got the right stands on a lot of issues. I think he's better than Bobby Jindal and Marco Rubio and a lot of the others. But Steve, when you got someone that you think is better, you support the person you think is the best. And I don't think he's the best.
He's more conservative on the issues than Donald Trump?
I think he's on the issues that are important to me, and that's immigration and trade and jobs. I don't think he stands up to Donald Trump. I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Donald Trump. So, yeah, I think on some issues, I think on the social issues, I think he's good. Steve, Steve. You're trying to badger me about my support of Trump. I view him as the better candidate.
Question. I'm not trying to
badger
you, Jeff.
He's the better. To me, he's the better candidate. He's the better candidate. I think he's certainly the more politically incorrect candidate. He's taken on political correctness from the beginning.
Oh, come on.
And I do believe that the whole immigration issue is extremely important. Cruz hasn't taken a leadership position on that. In fact, Cruz was initially in favor of immigration reform. So it's a whole list of reasons why I think Trump is better. I don't hate Cruz. If Cruz were the nominee, I'd support him. But I don't see a pathway for him getting the nomination. He doesn't have a pathway to the nomination.
When Trump was asked about the abortion thing and the criminalization of it, I mean, he made a statement and then he backed off of it. And, I mean, how can he even say, hey, Donald, listen, stand up for your rights. I mean, stop being politically correct. No, he back, what he did, he crawfished out of it, didn't he?
He says he's pro-life, okay? He says he changed his view on abortion, and he was pro-choice. He's now pro-life.
He changed his view on criminalization of abortion. Yes, he sure did.
I think he misspoke. He came back later and clarified the position. All candidates. Ted Cruz, hold on. Ted Cruz has clarified a number of positions. Steve, hey, how about Hillary? Can we go talk about all the issues that Hillary? Hold on, Steve. You're focused on Trump. How many issues has Hillary changed her position on?
I'm the one who brought up Hillary Clinton just now about misspeaking about coal in West Virginia.
I think you're focused on Trump. You have a hatred for Trump. I think you've got to look at all these candidates, okay? Hillary's got incredible baggage. Incredible baggage.
Wait, calm down, Jeff. Did I bring up Hillary Clinton? Wasn't I the one who just brought up Hillary Clinton and her, quote, misspeaking about, the coal industry dying or killing the coal industry in West Virginia? Now, didn't I? Wait, that she apologized for?
Hang on, Steve. We've got to run to a break. We're running late for a timeout. When we come back, we're going to do something called Bring On Callers, okay? We've got to bring callers into the conversation because this is talk radio, and let's hear what they have to say. It's Ringside right here on WGSO. Now, let's get your views on all these topics. Anything else you want to talk about, fair game. And let's kick off with our friend Brent on the North Shore. Brent, what's going on, my friend? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. I just have a couple quick questions for Steve, if he doesn't mind. Steve, earlier you mentioned that you thought it was disgusting that Mr. Trump brought up Mr. Cruz's father and his possible relationship with Harvey Oswald. Is it only disgusting if it's false, or is it disgusting whether it's true or false to bring that up?
That's actually a good question. If it is true, then I think. Let me think. If it is true, the question is, what is the relevance of it? Okay. Yeah. Go on.
Well, basically, I know that we have limited time, so we're going to keep this like Jeff likes it with short answers.
Yeah.
I just want to refer you to three books, okay, that Jeff's familiar with all three probably. Lee and Me is one book, Dr. Mary's Monkey is a second book, and Mafia Kingfish is a third book. And the Cuban exiles from after Castro's takeover were a lot of them in the United States. There were training camps on the North Shore where they were training them militarily to try to retake Cuba prior to Bay of Pigs and then even after. And then also, and then Lee Harvey Oswald was involved with all that as well. So that could be where the
Brent, I do have an answer. I have an answer for you, okay? And and this is just off the cuff because I think your question that you asked was really a good one, and that is that I personally don't think that I, as Donald Trump, would be using that and saying that and promoting that as he did, okay, unless he really knew, unless he really had facts. I just think that's offensive. So, now if it's true and he knows it's true, then I think that's fair game. So hopefully that answers.
I don't see how anybody would know whether that's true. I don't even know the exact role of what Lee Harvey Oswald was doing. I think there's been a lot of new information coming out about that. Do you have a quick follow-up, Brent? Because we got to roll. Go ahead.
Sure. Quick follow-up. Trump, if he becomes president, can exclude the Muslims the same way that the President Obama now is able to include the Latino immigrants, and that's strictly through executive orders and other methods that President Obama has been using now in reverse.
Yeah, but I wasn't referring to that. Yeah, I agree with that in terms of what you're saying. I'm saying I find it, when you talk about 1.5 billion people, I find that it would be just a major.
One, they don't all want to come to the United States, and two, he has said only until we can verify the background and find out what's going on with them. He didn't mean permanently.
Right, that's a good point. That's a good point, Brent. That's a good point. Thank you.
All right, but how would you do that though? You see, anyway. Go on.
Mm-hmm. One thing we can do, and I'm sure you're familiar with H.R. 4038, and that's the American Security Against Foreign Enemies Act of 2015, which was an attempt to try to reverse what Obama's doing about immigration coming from Syria and other countries. I think by targeting certain countries that are 95, 98, 99% Muslim, certainly that would be one way of going about it. It wouldn't be, I think, foolproof, because obviously there's some Christians in that group among Syria. But from what I can tell, Steve, we're not allowing in many Christians from Syria. The vast majority have been Muslims.
So what do? We ask them to put a gold star of Mogen David on them?
I think we just say for the time being, we can't allow in any immigration from Syria, from Iraq, from any of these countries until, as Brent pointed out, we can figure out what's going on. And I think there's a percentage of these folks that are coming here to try to commit terror. Look at what happened in Paris. We obviously, I think, have a concern here. We had San Bernardino, we've got Brussels, we've got Paris. ISIS is targeting us. You would agree, right?
I would agree with that, but I think that when you're talking about stopping 1.5 billion people or so and making that your major campaign promise, I think you better have your facts together and your plan together before you make that kind of statement for political purposes.
Well, I'm looking here at his website, and it's a pretty detailed. Yeah. It's a pretty detailed position on immigration.
I looked at it. There wasn't one thing related to that issue that I saw, at least. So please, hopefully he doesn't forget that he made that promise.
I don't think anybody will let him forget it, because I think most Americans.
It's not on the website.
Yeah, I think most. Well, he's got 8 positions on the website right now. I'm sure he's talked about a lot more than that. But I think it's something he's going to follow through on. It's certainly something that's been brought up a number of times. Hey, let's get some other input. 504-556-9696. Time for our friend James in Metairie. What's happening, James? Good morning, sir.
Well, Jeff, good morning. Hello, Steve. Jeff, earlier today you said that Obama has been so divisive. He pits one race against another, I think you said. We need a president who's going to bring this country together.
Right.
Jeff, have you really followed closely, of course you have, the Trump rallies? Donald Trump is the biggest divisor. If there, he makes Obama look like Abraham Lincoln as far as being a uniter. Look what he said about Mexicans, Jeff.
I've been to 3 of his rallies, and I've seen a lot of people in there that are not white. I've seen a lot of people in there that are enjoying the rallies, and he's bringing those people together.
Jeff. Look at what you even mentioned it over the weekend. I think it was in Washington State and California.
Right.
I condemn any kind of violence at these rallies, but Trump alienates. He's divisive.
But James, who's the one committing the violence? Is it Trump supporters or is it the leftists? Who's the one yelling the expletives? Is it the Trump supporter or is it the people that are opposed to him, James?
Well, what about that piece of white trash who sucker punched that black guy being escorted out?
Okay, you're talking about one guy. Have you seen all the hundreds and thousands of anti-Trump protesters? You're talking about one guy, after all these rallies and all these thousands of people going, all right, you got one guy. What about all the children that were yelling expletives at the Trump people in Indiana? Do you condemn that, James?
Yes. Nice guy, Jeff. Nice try, Jeff. The guy also said if that black protester came back again, we might have to kill him. Jeff, there's been violence, punches thrown, kicks on the floor of Trump rallies by Trump supporters.
James.
Yes, Jeff.
Again, you've not been to one of the rallies, okay?
Jeff,
I've been to
have
three of them, and I'll tell you, the people that instigated in the New Orleans rally the problems were not the Trump supporters.
Jeff.
Okay, it was the people that went in there and started yelling and screaming and pushing. I was talking to a friend the other day who said that she was being pushed and harassed by these Black Lives Matter folks that came into the New Orleans rally.
Jeff, look, I don't like violence at any rally, but you mentioned the California protest, you mentioned the Washington State protest. Look what he does, Jeff. He is separating us. He's like Moses parting the Red Sea. That's exactly what this guy. He cannot unite the country, Jeff. His entire campaign is built on insults, Jeff. That's what he does. That's what Donald Trump does.
He's united 10.1 million people so far to vote for him, which is a record.
A lot of people like Henny Youngman and other comedians who do insult comedy. That's what Donald Trump is. He's the insulter in chief, and he's a divisive force. And that's not what we need, Jeff.
Well, I agree with you. We don't need a divisive force. I guess I disagree with you. I think if he is elected, he will unite people, and I guess we'll just have to see what happens.
We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it, Jeff.
And I think he unites people more than you think. And here's what I also think. I think he'll do better with African Americans than any Republican nominee for president we've seen in years. That's my prediction. I think he'll do a lot better than a lot of people are giving him credit for. But you know, obviously heated debates about it this morning. Interesting discussion. Check out the latest at valuebuzz.com with Steve Sabludowski. We've got to roll quick.